Hi again, everyone. Gary Digital Williams here for Beltway Boxing News and Notes on the Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network. Boxing on the Beltway Podcast Network brings you news and notes and other great content on the Boxing on the Beltway podcast. And we are heard each and every week on Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio.com. We're heard on Stitcher.com and on Stitcher.com, and on TuneIn as well. So make sure you subscribe to those pages for great Beltway boxing content, and we are giving it to you each time we come on the air. And our Beltway Boxing News and Notes podcast brought to you by Real Time Pain Relief, from boxers to ballerinas, for shoulder pain to muscle strain, everything in between. Boxing on the Beltway recommends Real Time Pain Relief, the natural, plant-based, safe, fast, and effective ointment. You go to freepainoffer.com, you buy $10 worth of Real Time Pain Relief, you get a free $10 tube of Real Time Pain Relief. Rub it on, the pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com, great weight loss tips without dieting, eating real food along the way, and also great jewelry she sells on Deborah, Debra Spears.com. We're taking a little bit of a week off, primarily because a lot of things went on this past week. We gave you a recap on the post-fight wrap-up show Juan Marsh and I did about the show at Rosecroft Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland. So I won't say a whole lot about that. Some people had some issues with the scoring of the bout between Shingas Khan Tazabai and Juan Rodriguez. I didn't think there was any problem with it. I thought Tazabai was the better boxer on that particular day. And all three judges scored about the same, 59-55, which ought to tell you something, in all honesty. But you can hear and read the recaps that Juan and I did on both our blogs, Boxing on the Beltway, as well as Pro Am Fight Talk. Don't forget also on Boxing on the Beltway.blogspot.com, you buy your Amazon and Best Buy products through the links on the blog, and that will help out Boxing on the Beltway podcast and the blog. But this week, we're going to move on to the November and December schedules primarily. We're not going to do a whole lot with December. We're going to tell you about some big dates that are coming in December in the Beltway primarily, but we do have one outside the Beltway as well. And, of course, we go through the whole November schedule. Not a whole lot going on in November, especially here in the Beltway. Nothing really except for amateur bouts, amateur cards in the Beltway going on in November. But a lot going on outside the Beltway on the pro level. Now, another reason why this podcast is a little delayed this past week, we didn't do one this past week, is because of the recent passing of my aunt, Beverly Diane Bowman Harrison. Her passing was, as we record this, a week ago today, this past Monday. And we're getting ready for the memorial service for her. And today's podcast is indeed dedicated to her. She was a great woman, taught me a lot about music growing up. She wasn't a teenager. Well, I guess she was a teenager. Yeah, she was like 13 years older than I was when I was born, and 13 years old throughout. And she taught me about music of all types. You know, she got me how to introduce me to a lot of music of all types throughout my life, and took me to not only the black, soul and funk concerts, but like in 1 month, she took me to both Kiss and Parliament during that 2-3 week time frame. So something I'll never forget. She turned me on to Prince. She was the one to turn me on to the music of Prince before anybody really knew who he was back in those days. And she was a great lady, no question about that. She was my mother's sister and stayed with my mother throughout the last part of her life. And we're going to miss her, no question about that. So today's podcast dedicated to Beverly Bowman Harrison. Now let's look at the November schedule. Now, I got to thank a couple of posters on the blog who alerted me to this. I did not know about this, and BoxRec didn't even have it on their schedule. There's a card this Thursday, November 8th, at the Fantasy Springs Casino in Indio, California. It's actually a Golden Boy Boxing on ESPN card, but I don't know if these bouts will make the telecast. We'll see. But one bout features a Golden Boy prospect, and that's the undefeated Demetrius Big Meats Ballard out of Temple Hills, Maryland. He's 18-0, 12 KOs. He'll take on Alan Amenaza Kampa. He is from Guaymas, Sonora, Mexico, and his record 17-3, 11 KOs. Now, Ballard has not fought since October 2017 when he won a 10-round unanimous decision over Jaime Solorio. That was at the Turning Stone Resort Casino in Verona, New York. Alan Campa, you may remember, his last bout actually was on March 16th of this year. He won a 10-round split decision over Octavio Castro. That was in Sonora, Mexico. But you may remember him from his bout against Jesse Hart at the MGM National Harbor Casino in Oxon Hill, Maryland. That was back on April 8th, 2017, our first card there at the MGM National Harbor. And he was knocked out by Jesse Hart in the 5th round of that card. That was, of course, the Vasily Lomachenko, Jason Sosa card, you may remember. So we do remember Alan Campa. Once again, his record 17-3, 11 KOs. He goes up against Demetrius Ballard, 18-0, 12 KOs. This bout is scheduled for 8 rounds, and it's on this card at Fantasy Springs Resort and Casino in Indio, California. Also scheduled to be on that card, and I'm wondering if this bout is still going to be here, but because he just fought not too long ago, and that's Jordan Short Dog White out of Washington, D.C., 5-1, 4 KOs. He just knocked out Francisco Rodriguez at Bowie State University back on September 22nd, so he probably will be able to go here. He scored a 4th round TKO on that bout. That was his last outing. So Jordan Short Dog White, no word on his opponent yet. He's scheduled for 4 rounds on this card, this Golden Boy boxing card on November the 8th, Thursday night. So we'll see what happens there. Now, as far as the rest of the November schedule, Friday, November 16th, interesting day here. We talked a little bit about it, but November 16th, this will be at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Now, we mentioned this card even though there are no Beltway boxers at this time scheduled to participate on this card. However, and this is a big however, and to be honest, we got to thank our good buddy Chris Middendorf, who is the matchmaker for Victory. I think he's the matchmaker and maybe the promoter as well for Victory Promotions, and they and Hard Hitting Promotions are doing this card. The ring announcer for this card, which is a showbox card, by the way, so it'll be shown live on television, give you time in a moment, is our very own Henry Discombobulating Jones. This is a huge day, no question about it. The show is scheduled to begin at 9:35 p.m. Jerron Boots Ennis is in the main event of this card. We were very familiar with him in the Beltway. But this is huge. This is so big, and we thank Chris Middendorf for doing this. And this is going to be great. I know that Henry Discombobulating Jones will do very well on this card. This is something he's been waiting for a long time. He really, truth be told, he hasn't been on national television too many times past the show on ESPN with Mark Johnson and Arthur Johnson. I think he was on, he did one of the Thunderdome shows with Tony Thompson, and Larry Michael, the voice of the Washington football team, was the play-by-play guy on that one. He did that show up in Atlantic City. But quite frankly, he has not been on national television much at all since 98. And that's just an outright disgrace, in my personal opinion. So this is a big time. So hopefully this will lead to something even bigger down the stretch. But there's more than one card in the state of Pennsylvania that day, Friday, November 16th. That card at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. But there's also a card at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. This is a King's Promotions card. And there are no less than 4 Beltway boxers slated to be on this card. And 2 of them are in 2 of the biggest bouts of the night. The main event will feature Washington, D.C. super featherweight Joshua Dynamite Davis. He go up against undefeated Anvar Yunusov, that's what it is. Anvar Yunusov of Reading, Pennsylvania, by way of Tajikistan. This bout is scheduled for 8 rounds. Davis is 11-3, 5 KOs. He needs a win badly right now. He's lost 2 straight, including a second-round TKO loss to Stephen Ortiz. That was on January 26th, and that was at the Sugar House Casino in Philadelphia. Yunusov is 5-0, 2 KOs. He competed in the last 3 Olympics, 2008, 2012, 2016. And as a pro, he scored knockouts in his last 2 pro bouts. That's including a first-round knockout over Angel Monreal on September 14th, and that was at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia. So that's the main event. Joshua Dynamite Davis taking on Anvar Yunusov. Now, the co-feature takes on Darren Sweet Williams out of Washington, D.C., super bantamweight, undefeated 7-0 4 KOs. He'll be in a 6-round bout against Martino Titan Jules of Allentown, Pennsylvania. Williams comes off a 4th-round TKO over Marco Antonio Mendoza on June 30th. That was at the Sphinx Club in Washington, D.C. Jules has made a home at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center out of his 6 bouts, including this one coming up. He's making his 5th straight appearance at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center. Jules comes off a 4-round unanimous decision over Felix Sosa. That was on September 25th. And Jules faces a Beltway box for the second time. He won a 4-round unanimous decision over Malik Lofton back on February 13th at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center. So Darren Sweet Williams, a real rising prospect in the Beltway, will take on Martino Titan Jules. That's scheduled to be the co-feature on this card. Also on the card, super welterweight, the Lion King, Jonathan Burrs. He's out of Frederick, Maryland. Takes on Bethlehem, Pennsylvania's Ricky Nuno. That's about scheduled for 4 rounds as well. Now, Burrs just won his first pro contest, winning a 4-round unanimous decision over Brian Costello. That was on October 27th, and that was over Rose Clark Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland. Nuno is 2-1, 1 KOs. He returns to action for the first time since September of 2015 when he lost a 4-round unanimous decision to Nicholas Hernandez at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center. So that is going to be Jonathan Burrs taking on Ricky Nuno in a 4-round bout on this card at the Sands Bethlehem Event Center. And also Baltimore, Maryland light heavyweight Travis Holy Toledo. He'll be in a 4-round bout against Kendo Kaneda. He's a Pennsylvania as well. Toledo is 2-0, 2 KOs, originally from Brooklyn, New York. Comes off 2 second-round TKOs in his first 2 contests. That includes a win over Tahit Taylor. That was on September 8th in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Kaneda last fought on April 6th. He won a 4-round unanimous decision over Carlos Villanueva in Philadelphia. His record is 2-0. So that's the big card there. Friday, November 16th from the Sands Bethlehem Event Center in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. 4 Beltway boxers on that card. On Saturday, November 17th, Rose Clark Raceway in Fort Washington, Maryland, the amateur boxing card promoted by Julius Juice Gatling and Keystone Boxing. This bout scheduled to be at 6 o'clock p.m., so we'll try to give you more details on that card. Rose Clark Raceway, Fort Washington, Maryland, Juice Gatling and Keystone Boxing promoting this amateur boxing card. On Wednesday, November 21st, that's at Michael's 8th Avenue in Glen Burnie, Maryland, is the Turkey Day Eve Bash. That's the day before Thanksgiving. And that's Baltimore Boxing, Jake Smith promoting that card. Scheduled to be on that card, a multi-sport athlete by the name of Walter Sanders. He played 3 sports, football, basketball, and I believe baseball, at Mervo Tech in Baltimore. And then he played college ball at St. Augustine's College in North Carolina. That's in the CIAA. And he played some time on the practice squads with the Baltimore Ravens. And now he's boxing amateur. He's taking on Sam Aifcuff for the Maryland State Light Heavyweight title. Also, the Fighting Marine Lisa Boldenberg will be on this card. So she's been very successful as of late. So that should be an interesting card. That's Wednesday, November 21st, Michael 8th Avenue, Glen Burnie, Maryland. The Turkey Day Eve Bash. Special guest has become the custom for Jake Smith's cards. Former world champion Vinny Paz will be the special guest on that card. And also on Wednesday, November 21st, at the Twin River Event Center, that's in Lincoln, Rhode Island, DC heavyweight Maurice Freight Train Byron will be on this card in an 8-round contest against Joel Cusimano of Danville, Virginia. Byron is 14-2, 1 draw, 10 KOs, and he returned to action after more than 6 years away from the ring. He scored a first-round TKO over Richard Carmack. That was on February 10th in Park City, Kansas. Cusimano is 16-2 with 14 KOs, coming off a first-round knockout in his last bout against James Price on July 21st in Yanceyville, North Carolina. So a lot to talk about away from the Beltway scene for a lot of our Beltway boxers, both on the amateur and the pro side. We do want to also remind you about the this Friday, November 9th, and that is the 2018 Washington, D.C. Boxing Hall of Fame ceremony. That is at Martin's Crosswinds in Greenbelt, Maryland. Again, 4 legendary world champions among the honorees, the inductees going in. Simon Brown, Mark Johnson, William Joppy, as well as Lisa Foster Cohen, and also amateur stars with Anthony B. Suggs, as well as Patrice Boogie Harris and Tamara McKinney, Mac Allison III, also Brent Bovell, and there's one other that is escaped. David J. Norman, the former chair of the Maryland State Athletic Commission, still one of the commissioners of the Maryland State Athletic Commission. So that's Friday, November 9th. The cash bar is at 7 o'clock. The event starts at 8. Yours truly will be the master ceremonies for that event. Looking forward to it. And it's one of the better classes. They've all been great, but this has a lot of personal meaning to me. This class has a lot of personal meaning to me, and I'm really looking forward to being a part of that. So that's Friday, November 9th, Martin's Crosswinds, Greenbelt, Maryland, 2018 Washington, D.C. Boxing Hall of Fame ceremonies. Now, we're going to take an early look at December because December is huge. Be quite perfectly honest with you, it's huge right off the bat. First of all, away from the area, Saturday, December 1st, we're getting word that IBF, WBA, and IBO super welterweight champion Swift Jared Hurd will be defending his title, and will be defending his title against a guy by the name of Jason Wolfson out of the United Kingdom, and that'll be on the Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder card at Staples Center in Los Angeles. Now, again, I wonder why this is a title bout, except to maybe give Hurd an opportunity to kind of test himself after suffering a shoulder injury against Aristotle Lara back in April. And I guess this is the only reason. I mean, that's the only reason, because this guy is 24-6, and this is a true story, and I've looked it up. He once lost to a boxer by 6-round decision, a boxer who had 96 losses at the time that he lost to him. So this is a true story, no question about that. But so again, and the thing about it, he is not ranked as a junior middleweight. He's ranked as a middleweight. He's ranked, I believe, 7 by the IBF and 10th by the WBO. So he's ranked within the top 10 as a middleweight, but not as a junior middleweight. So that could be interesting. So, by the way, just as an aside to this, I had a chance to get together with Jared Hurd as we record this on Sunday, where he was a special guest of the Washington football team at FedEx Field. And he came to the game. Fans came around, and some fans, I mean, again, they weren't 100% sure they knew who he was. Some of them may have thought he played with the team at one time, with the football team one time, but he's signing autographs, taking pictures with everybody. There were people who did know who he was, and it was great to see. No question about that. It was great to see, and his whole crew was there, including his great trainer, Nestor Rodriguez, and he and I talked about this bout, and I wanted to make sure that this was a title bout. And he said it was, and again, it was because he wanted to really kind of test that shoulder a little bit. So my biggest concern is that Hurd gets overconfident and looks ahead toward one of the bouts with the Charlo brother, with Jamal Charlo down the stretch. I've been assured that won't happen. He's probably going to, I would think he's going to walk through this guy like Grant took Richmond. And so I don't see any real problem with this. It's going to be on the pay-per-view of Showtime pay-per-view with Wilder and Fury. I believe it's a co-feature. But we'll see what happens. That's Saturday, December 1st at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California, coming up on that date. Now, in-house, Saturday, December 1st starts a big, big month for us in the Beltway. And what's great about this month is that all 3 sections of the Beltway will be represented this month. We start in D.C. Saturday, December 1st at the Entertainment Sports Arena for the Tricky Entertainment and DC Fight Night Promotions card featuring Dusty Hernandez Harrison, Antonio Magruder. We're scheduled to see Dominic Wade. I'm not sure if that's going to happen now, but we have a number of guys who are making their returns 2 boxing on this card. Saturday, December 1st at the Entertainment Sports Arena. Now, I've been hearing some things about the Entertainment Sports Arena over the last couple of weeks because actually the Capital City Go-Go made their debut during this past week. And some of the things I'm not liking, in all honesty. Number one, and this isn't a big deal for me, really, and it might help us in this situation, is that the arena itself only seats about 4,000 people. That's for basketball. It may change for boxing and other events, but for basketball, it only seats about 4,000. And there's not a boatload of parking over there, which I'm not too surprised about. Now, I've heard the metro isn't too far, but it's kind of like the way, if those of you who live in the area, if you go to Nationals Park and you get off at Navy Yard Metro Station, you still got to walk a little bit to get there. That's kind of what I'm hearing about this particular venue, that you still have to walk a little bit to get to the arena once you get off. I believe it's the Congress Heights Station or whatever station it is in the southeast part of Washington, D.C. So if you're going there, you might want to take the metro. Again, parking, I'm not sure how great the parking is there. I've heard it's not all that great, so we'll see what happens. That's Saturday, December 1st from the Entertainment Sports Arena in Washington, D.C. Then on Saturday, December 8th, we'll be at the A.C. Jordan Arena on the campus of Bowie State University in Bowie, Maryland. Their second card over there by Shabazz Brothers, scheduled to be on that card. Tierra Brown, of course, Greg Sharpshooter Outlaws, the main event. The Rockman Brothers, scheduled to be there, Sharif and Hasim Jr., and a whole lot more. That's Saturday, December 8th from the A.C. Jordan Arena on the campus of Bowie State University in Bowie, Maryland. Then on Saturday, December 15th, we go to Virginia, part of the Beltway, with the TAC Promotions card. It's called December to Remember. It'll be on Saturday, December 15th from a new location there. That's Tyson's Playground in Vienna, Virginia. Scheduled to be on that card. Patrick Harris, as well as Tariq Irby, and a whole lot more. There are more Beltway boxes scheduled to be on this card going forward on Saturday, December 15th. So that's what we know so far about December. Again, looks like a very busy month for us going into our year interviews, and Juan and I have started to work on that a little bit even at this point, and should be interesting to see what happens there. So expecting a great end of the month, end of the year for Beltway Boxing 2018, a good year overall, and we'll chronicle that later on in near the end of December into first part of January for that as well. So that's the quick look at December going forward. And that will do it for another edition of Beltway Boxing News and Notes. Remember, Boxing on Beltway News and Notes on the Boxing on Beltway Podcast Network is brought to you by Real-Time Pain Relief. You go to freepainoffer.com. Buy $10 worth of Real-Time Pain Relief. You get a free $10 tube of Real-Time Pain Relief. Rub it on. The pain is gone in real time. And by DeborahSpears.com. Great weight loss tips without dieting. Also great jewelry. First purchase 20% off on Deborah, DEBRSpears.com. And don't forget to go to the Boxing on Beltway blog, boxingonbeltway.blogspot.com. You go to the Best Buy and or Amazon.com links. And if you purchase straight from Boxing on Beltway, you'll help us out and keep this thing rolling all throughout the time we're there. All right, so thanks for joining us once again. And also I can be found on Digital25 on Twitter. So make sure you join us there as well. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Gary Digital Williams, and always remember to keep supporting the best boxing in the world, the boxing along the Beltway. Thanks for listening. Take care.